welcome to my channel, Willa Kenny's channel. If you're new here, welcome. I'm Willa Kenny, aka Patrika, and on my channel I'll do some eating and storytelling, and today it's just going to be like a series of me reading the Holy Bible. That would be this Holy Bible. That's what I do first before I get into reading the story, because at the end of the day, God comes first. How is everyone doing today? I hope everyone is doing fine on this beautiful Tuesday. Hope everyone is doing great. I just looked at the thing. It says Tuesday, June the 2nd. Hope everyone is doing great, staying safe, driving safely out there, loving one another, treating everyone with respect. Yeah, hope everyone is doing great, and I'm going to get into the word. I'm going to read in Isaiah chapter 60. Arise, shine, for thy light is come, and the glory of the Lord is rising upon thee. For behold, the darkness shall cover the earth, and gross darkness the people. But the Lord shall arise upon thee, and his glory shall be seen upon thee. And the Gentiles shall come to thy light, and kings to the brightness of thy rising. Lift up thine eyes round about and see. All they gather themselves together, they come to thee. Thy sons shall come from far, and thy daughters shall be nursed at thy side. Then they two shall see and flow together, and thine heart shall fear and be enlarged, because the abundance of the sea shall be converted into thee. The forces of the Gentiles shall come unto thee. The multitude of camels shall cover thee. The dromedaries of Midian and Ephah, all they from Sheba shall come. They shall bring gold and incense, and they shall shew forth the praises of the Lord. Sorry for any background noise. I just want to come out here and get some fresh air. All the flocks of cattle shall be gathered together unto thee. The rams of Nebaioth shall minister unto thee. They shall come upon... They shall come up with acceptance on mine altar, and I will glorify the house of my glory. Who are these that fly as a cloud, and as the doves to their windows? Surely the owls shall wait for thee, and the ships of Tarshish first, to bring thy sons from far, their silver and their gold with them, unto the name of the Lord thy God, and to the Holy One of Israel, because he hath glorified thee. And the sons of strangers shall build up thy walls, and their kings shall minister unto thee. For in my wrath I smote thee, but in my favor have I had mercy on thee. Therefore thy gates shall be open continually, they shall not be shut day nor night, that men may bring unto thee the forces of the Gentiles, and that their kings may be brought. For the nation and kingdom that... I'm trying to check for mosquitoes. For the nation and kingdom that will not serve thee shall perish. Yeah, those nations shall be utterly wasted. The glory of Lebanon shall come unto thee, the fir tree, the pine tree, and the box together, to beautify the place of my sanctuary, and I will make the place of my feet glorious. The sons also of them that afflicted thee shall come bending unto thee, and all they that despise thee shall bow themselves down at the soles of thy feet. And they shall call thee the city of the Lord, the Zion of the Holy One of Israel, whereas they too hast been forsaken and hated, so that no man went through thee. I will make thee an eternal excellency, a joy of many generations. They too shall also suck the milk of the Gentiles, and shall suck the breasts of kings. And they too shall know that I, the Lord, am thy Savior and thy Redeemer, the mighty one of Jacob, is what I meant to say. For brass I will bring gold, and for iron I will bring silver, and for wood, brass, and for wood, brass, and for stones, iron. I will also make thy officers peace, and thy exactors righteousness. Violence shall no more be heard in thy land, wasting nor destruction within thy borders, but they too shall call thy walls salvation, and thy gates praise. The sun shall be no more thy light by day, neither for brightness shall redeem. Give me. Shall the moon, I meant, because I had a page bit. Give light unto thee, but the Lord shall be unto thee an everlasting light, and thy God thy glory. Thy sun shall no more go down, neither shall thy moon withdraw itself, for the Lord shall be thine everlasting light, and the days of thy mourning shall be ended. Thy people also be all righteous, they shall inherit the land forever. The branch of my planting, the work of my hands, that I may be glorified. A little one shall become 1,000, and a small one a strong nation. I, the Lord, will hasten it in his time. The Holy Bible. And I also have something to drink with me. It's like a mixture of like fruit punch and like mango. It's like the drink mixes. Fruit punch and mango drink mix mixed in water, sugar free. It's a little thirsty. Got to get into the story, and this episode is episode 4, I believe. Yes, because I did episode 3 in the other video. If you haven't seen episode 3, I suggest you go check it out, if God's will. You know, when you're not busy or whatever. But on episode 4, on this episode, it's called The Vermint in the Kitchen. In this episode, you know, Alexis and Sylvania was both sleeping in a bed together. You know, they was just soundly asleep. And I mean calling hogs. But, you know, Sylvania was snoring way more louder than Alexis. But they both was, you know, just sleep, you know, catching disease. And, but it was this suspicious noise that was coming from out of the kitchen. And that, it was like, first it was rambling paper. And that rambling paper sound, it would kind of make it Sylvania, like, you know, toss and turn a bit in the bed. She was like, but once it sounded like a small pot from out of the kitchen had dropped it on the floor, you know, that ting sound. That's what had woken Sylvania fully up. Like, her eyes were wide open. She was wondering where the heck that noise, what the heck is that noise coming from? And she got kind of scared because she continued to hear more noise when that sound of one of the pans falling on the floor, it had woken her up. And she was like shaking. Alexis like, Alexis, wake up. And Alexis like, huh? Like, But he had his face buried into the pillow because he slept on one side. And she was like, I think I heard something in the kitchen. Go check and see what it is. And Alexis said, oh, it ain't nothing. It's probably the neighbors or something. So the neighbors is not up at this time in the morning. And around that time, it was like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. But you know the sun wasn't, you know, up yet. But it was still looking dark outside. So she was like, the neighbors is not up. The neighbors is not up early this morning. And then Alexis said, oh yeah, none of the other neighbors is not up except for Arlie. And Arlie's name start with an I. Arlie, he wears like these really thick, and I mean with a capital TH, thick glasses. Glasses are beautiful on people, by the way. But my character Arlie wears these really thick glasses. He probably stays up really late, and I mean he barely gets any sleep. But he functions properly, mentally, physically, and everywhere else, just like everyone else. But he's like this strange, weird acting neighbor who stays up all night. But the noise wasn't coming from his apartment. Arlie lived it like beside them. You know, like they had apartments like on the side of them and stuff. You know, like inside of an apartment building. They had people living above them, people living below them. Everybody was asleep. Well, except for Arlie. But Alexis was like, you know, I know Arlie probably, you know, ain't asleep. You know, he probably don't one of the only folks that's, you know, not sleeping. And Sylvania's saying, well, I ain't talking about Arlie. I'm talking about the noise in the kitchen. I want you to get up and go check and see where the noise is coming from. And Alexis said, you mean to tell me that you want me to wake up out of my sleep when I got work in about a few more hours, when I'm trying to sleep this off a little bit, sleeping this off a little bit, and sleep this headache off, because he had a little headache. And then she said, well, that's your fault for mom having a headache. That's your fault. You should have never been out with your friends. shooting dice and stuff like that. You should have never been out with your friends. And also, Alexis was also did a little bit of drinking, adult drinking, right along with shooting dice and stuff with his friends. So it plays a part in the reason why he has a headache and he just wants to sleep it off, till it's time to, go to work. Him for rise and shine to go to work. And Sylvania like, well, that's your fault then. That's your fault that you have a headache. You laying there with your face buried in the pillow. I want you to get your butt up, get your narrow butt up in that kitchen and go see. Hold on, before the mail truck passed by, it was a lot of noise. She's like, I want you to go get your narrow butt up and go in that kitchen and see where that noise is coming from. Now, N-O-W. And that's when Alexa was like, all right. And he snatched the covers off of himself. And he went to go see where the noise was coming from. Turned on the kitchen light and everything. He didn't see nothing. But as soon as he switched the light back off, that's when he saw something kind of big. He saw something kind of big with something dragging behind it, almost resembling a tail. I saw a bird flew right there. Almost resembling a tail, maybe a mouse tail or a rat tail or whatever. He seen something kind of big though, like he could tell there was something dragging along with whatever this thing was, and he was like, wait, hold up for a minute. He switched the light back off. He didn't see nothing. But when he turned it off, this thing moved again really fast. It was like, hold up, wait a minute. I know I just saw something the first time. I know my eyes ain't playing tricks on me. So he was turning the light on and off, on and off, on and off. When he turned it completely off, like, I'm probably just about tired. It's probably just me just having a headache, hallucinations or whatever. He went back to sleep. He went back, fell into the bed, snatched some of the covers back on himself, buried his face into the pillow, and he didn't say nothing. He just fell back to sleep. And then Sylvania woke him back up. She was sitting up in bed like, well, she's shaking him like, what did you see? And then he was like, it's nothing, Sylvania, it's nothing. I checked it all around in the kitchen, it's nothing. She said, well, did one of my pots or pans fell on the floor or something? He said, yeah, I picked it up and I put it back in. He did not pick it up, put it back in the thing. It was still left on the floor. But he said, yes, I picked it up, put it back into the dish holder. There's nothing in there. You ain't got to worry about anything. Go back to sleep. And Sylvania said, I can't go back to sleep after I heard that noise like that. I don't believe that you checked it all over the place. Let's say I just stuffed it in there and just literally turned it on the light on and off. I came back here to tell you I did not see nothing. Now, if you don't believe me, you could go in there and check it yourself. You're like, I ain't going in there and stepping in there and then something bites my toes off. You must think that I'm crazy. You must think that I'm boo-boo the fool if you think that I'm going to walk in there and something bite my toes and fingers off. The only toes and fingers that I have, I'm too beautiful to get eaten up. Like, that's what Sylvania was saying. And Leslie said, well, go back to sleep then and quit bothering me. Let me sleep for Christ's sakes. And once he said that, that's when Sylvania kind of looked at him for a bit. She was like, and in her mind she was thinking like, I know daggone well you ain't talking to me like that. And then when Alexis could feel when Sylvania that's how much of a bond they got. He could feel that when she's staring at him in a mean way. He had his face buried in the pillow. He lifted his face back up. As soon as he did, whack, she slapped him. She hauled off with her hand and whack, slapped his face back to the other side. And when she slapped at him back to sleep. Him back to sleep, like practically knocked him out by that hard hit. And then she's like, I don't know where you think you're talking to, while his face was buried into the pillow, and she turned it over herself and just lay back down on her pillow. And Alexis went to work wondering why the heck the side of his face, felt this sore. He thought he had a toothache or something, but he done forgot that Sylvania smacked the mess out of him. But it was like every night they just kept hearing this noise in her kitchen. And then it got to the point where Alexis had ended up, hearing the noise himself. He heard the noise when he was in the kitchen one day trying to make himself a sandwich or something like that, or pops a popcorn in the microwave, he just was hearing a strange noise just all over the apartment. And he was kind of thinking that the apartment was haunted or something. And then he ended up having a conversation with his friends about it. And Ricochet, Wetsuit, and all of them, Memphis, Yeti, Memphis, Shrimp, the other guy that hangs around with Shrimp, like, he was telling all of his friends about, the strange noises he'd been hearing in his house. And once he said that, Ricochet said, man, I'm glad that you mentioned that, because way before you was about to say that, I was just about to tell you that I heard strange noises in my house the other day. And Alexa was like, for real? Like, you really been hearing noises in your house too? Like, what kind of noises did you hear? He said, well, me and this honey, because Ricochet was on a date. Well, me and this honey, we were just kicking back and relaxing on the couch and, watching some cable. And then out of nowhere, when I reached it up to caress her shoulder, like he was trying to reach his hand over to where she was at and like rub the other side of her shoulder, he said he felt the extra hand like touching his hand. And then Alexis and them was all staring at him strange, like an extra hand. And they were like extra hand, paw, or something. I don't know what in the world it was, but I know what I felt, and it was kind of cold feeling. And now she snatched it back, and then my girl looking at me and like, what in the world is wrong with you? And she thinking that I, had either was drunk or either smoked it something or something. She got padded up her things and got the heck up out of my house. That's what Ricochet has said. And Alexis said, well, man, Sylvania had woke me up at first and told me that she heard a noise. And I didn't, see nothing. Now, when I kept turning the light off, it looked like something was just, moving real fast, like kind of big a little bit. And Ricky said, yeah, it looked kind of big too the other night, because right after she had left, I went on the bed. I said, forget it. I went on the bed, I cut everything off and everything, and I just kept hearing noise. And as soon as I stepped near the kitchen part, I saw something dash, and that's when things was connecting together. They both was having these issues with these strange noises in their apartments, in their houses. And that's when Alexis had came together. It was Alexis, Ricochet, and Fat Cat. Alexis, Ricochet, Fat Cat. Yeah, all three of them, because the rest of the friends did not want to take no parts of whatever that is. They did not want to take no parts in killing whatever that is in both of their houses that has been roaming around it. And Ricochet and Alexis' houses are the only two houses that this thing has been, luring around in. Other people been having problems with this thing breaking into their house, stealing food and stuff like that. This creature or whatever it is, this critter or whatever it is, they think is a critter, but it's going to get revealed towards the end of the episode. But let me get a swallow of drink. Like, whatever this critter is, Alexis, the rest of Alexis' friends, Memphis and all of them, like, no, I don't want to be a part of that. And Fat Cat said, well, you can count me in. I'll help you out with catching the little bastard, catching whatever the heck, the little rascal, whatever the heck is up in your house. And Ricochet said, yo, you can count me in too. So all three of them agreed to catch whatever this thing was. And they had came over Alexis' house one night. And Sylvania, she went over her sisters in them house. It was like a little gathering that one of her sisters was doing for a friend. It was like a baby shower thing, and Sylvania was bringing over some things for that friend. And she told Alexis, she said, also, since I'm going over my sister's house, I'm gonna be spending the night over there, Alexis. So I hope that your friends will keep you company, because I'm gonna be staying over my sister's house. You just call and let me know when this thing is dead. and she got her stuff along with the baby shower gifts and left up out of the apartment before the boys had went hunting together. And Ricochet, he was in the back. They all had to take turns taking a nap because they got to stay up all night watching out for this thing, whatever it was. So Ricochet was the first to take a nap. He said, I'm going to need somebody to watch the kitchen, and I'm going to need somebody to watch the front door. And he had like these two chairs sitting against each other. So he had it like Ricochet sits in one chair and Fat Cat sits in the other chair. And he had like gave them like he had like made coffee for them so they could stay up, and all of them hates coffee. Even I'll say that Alexis kind of like coffee. Like he'll drink coffee if he have to, but his other friends, Ricochet and them, they hate coffee, especially Ricochet. Fat Cat spitted it out like, you ain't got no hot chocolate, no sweet stuff. You can at least put a little sugar in it. This tastes worse than the sewer water. And Ricochet was telling him, man, the last thing you should be worrying about is sugar. You need to be watching the kitchen so we can catch this thing. So they stayed up all night, and Alexis said, hey, I would be in the back taking a nap, and once I'm done taking a quick nap, one of y'all I could switch places with one of you. And Fat Cat said, that would be me. And then Ricochet, no, it won't be you, it would be me. And Alexis would take my spot, and he'll be sitting against the chair with you. We'll take turns, and then after I take a nap, then you'll take a nap, and I'll switch places with you. So when Alexis was taking a nap, Ricochet and him was watching the door. But Ricochet was stand up, and he had just had his eyes like glued to the door. He didn't need no coffee anyway, because Ricochet was used to staying up late anyway and able to wake up fresh and all right. But Fat Cat was like, he was just dozing off to sleep. He was struggling to keep his eyes open. And Ricochet had heard him like, I know he daggone well he ain't falling asleep. Fat Cat, wake up. Like, he touted the other side of the chair and felt like, huh? What? And Ricochet said, man, you got to stay up. We got to watch out for this thing. And had gotten to the point where both of them ended up, dozing off to sleep with their heads like this. Both of them ended up dozing off to sleep. And, Alexis was sleeping real good in his room. And as they were sleeping, the thing had ended up sneaking in there. The thing ended up sneaking in there and was getting what it needed to get. But this thing was not no mouse. It was not no rat. It was not even no raccoon or anything like that. This thing was a child. Yes, a child. A person. A human being. A minor. Who was wearing torn up clothes and everything. And the part where Alexis had seen something dragging behind it, there was a piece of the boy's pants. Pants. His pants was so messed up that they didn't even look like pants no more. It kind of looked like he was just wearing a big old rag. But his clothes were just torn up and dirty. Just looked like he'd been running through the streets and through the dirt and through the trees and everywhere. It looked like he haven't had a bath in a while or anything. This poor kid. This kid, he was just going all around in the cabinets, looking for food and stuff. And he ended up knocking one of the pots of pans over again. And once he did that ting sound hit the floor. It woke up Ricochet. It woke up Fat Cat. They rised it up. Ricochet had grabbed the baseball bat. They was about to do what. But thank goodness that Alexis had woken up when he heard like the commotion. And the other part, he had woken up, turned on the light, and showed that it was a child. It was like, whoa, like, where you come from, little man? Ricochet said, what the world is this youngster doing in here? And Fat Cat said, it's a boy. I thought it was a rat or something. Like, they were shocked. It was a little child that was just really hungry. And the boy ended up, they ended up settling the boy down. The boy was terrified. He was scared that he was going to end up in the back of a milk carton or something. He had saw how these 3 grown men, way bigger than what he is, ganging up, looking like they're about to gang up and pummel him or something. But thank goodness that they had pity. Thank goodness they felt bad for him. Thank goodness they sympathized for him. And they settled him down. They calmed him down, calmed his nerves down, let him know, like, it's okay. Little boy, sit down. We'll find you some food and stuff like that. And the child ended up sitting down, telling all about himself. And this little boy's name was Blessing. His full name was Blessing Mayers. And, he told all about himself. He told that he had 7 other siblings, boys and girls, sisters and brothers. Like, he says just a lot of them all together. And he told about his mother. His mother's name. His name is Gloriana. Hold on. Sorry for any noise. But his mother's name is Gloriana. And he has a grandmother named Eunice. And he told about how his mother hardly, pays attention to him. How his mother just stays busy, like she can't keep up, with all the kids. And that's the reason why his clothes is, looking the way it's looking. That's the reason why he's hungry. That's the reason why he's just in that state of condition, in that condition. And Alexis felt bad for this kid. Because when he looked at this kid reminded him of himself. It reminded him of himself because Alexis ran the streets. He had a mother. But what's different is that Blessing's mother, Gloriana, she wasn't on drugs like Alexis' mother. But the neglect that Blessing was feeling is the same feeling that Alexis had gone through as a small child. And it stuck with him as an adult. And he felt bad for this kid. And the kid also ended up telling his address and everything. He ended up telling his address where he lived and everything. And he ended up showing where he lived. Alexis ended up, but he told about his address, but he begged Alexis not to take him there. And he said, well, you got to, go back home where your mother is at. Like, why you don't want to go there? The kid never told Alexis why. He never told Alexis why. He never told Alexis why. He didn't want to go back to his mother's house. He just begged him, like, please, just let me stay here, sir. I will clean for you. I won't steal anymore. I won't steal any more food. I won't steal any more drinks. Please, sir, please. And Alexis was like, okay. Like, you can take the couch then. And Alexis let the child stay there. And Shelvania ended up coming back home. Alexis made a call, told Shelvania that it was not no rat, it was not no mouse. It was a little child that was just hungry. And Shelvania was thinking to herself, like, oh my God. She came back home. Boy, did she feed this child. She made sure that this child had some clothes. Her mother was great at, making clothes and stuff. And her mother also, kept clothes, like if anybody needed clothes. And she got clothes from her mother's house and gave it to this child. Like, they really took care of this child. But one day, Alexis ended up deciding, like, well, little man, I got to take you back home. You can't stay here forever. Your mother's going to be looking for you. And once he said that, Bless's head kind of went down. And once he had brought him home, it took a while for somebody to answer the door. And you could hear like a lot of noise on the other side of the door, like a lot of people were making noise on the other side. It was the children, Blessing's siblings jumping all around the place. And the mother, Gloriana, was in there. Eunice was in there. He was just, the house was all over the place. Eunice was about sick too. She was she had medical problems herself. But once Gloriana had opened up the door, she was like, finally you showed up home. Where the heck have you been, boy? And Alexis said, well, I have found him. Well, I have found him. He didn't get to finish his sentence. Once he said, I have found him, Gloriana just slammed the door in his face. She didn't say, thank you for bringing my son home. She didn't say none of that. She just slammed the door in the boy's face. And that was the last time Alexis saw Blessing. I ain't saying nothing bad happened to Blessing, but the mother didn't say nothing to him. She didn't introduce herself. She didn't tell him, thank you for bringing my son home. She just slammed the door in his face. And that was the last time he saw the child. And, Alexis, stuck there with Blessing. He got to know Blessing. It's almost like he almost became like a father and son connection, or even a little brother connection. But once he brought him home, the lady snatched it, Blessing in, like, finally you came home? Wonder where you been, boy? And you could tell she was going to punish him as soon as she shut the door, and she just slammed the door in Alexis' face. And when Alexis told Shelvania about it, like, oh my God. Like, I wish we would have been able to keep him. And Alexis said, well, I had to see who his mother was. And, I kind of regret taking him back there. And that's the end of this episode called Vermint in the Kitchen. And I hope you like, comment, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell if you haven't. And once again, if you're new, hello. Welcome to my channel. On this channel, I tell stories, I tell stories, or either tell something that happened on the news, or I'll, eat food, home cooked mostly, but I'll also eat some fast food, just like the last night video that I did. Thank you for coming by my channel. Please stay safe out there. Please love one another. Treat everyone with respect. God bless you all, and bye-bye.